looks like they're dominant because they have such a huge gold lead. And
I think, yeah.
Here we go.
Here we go, guys. So the champ select has begun, and we're going to see what decisions these guys make. Well, the Jarvan dropped away from NK Inc., getting rid of some of that early aggressive jungle. Zed away from a high. These are things that you wouldn't be surprised to see banned against either team so far.
Yeah, every team gets to take 3 shots at Cloud9's champion pool, and it's usually not enough. You need about 10 to be able to ban everything out that they have. Zed is the most common one because I think teams have kind of identified High, at least recently, as the guy they should try to ban out. They know they can't ban out everything Balls has. Sneaky and Lemon, even though there's not a huge amount of AD carries in sports, they're just going to go to something else, and High is the thing that Velocity has at least picked right.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting to me, though, is when Cloud9 talks about teams that are hard to pick and ban against are the teams that share a champion pool. Kennen and Shen are both champions that Cloud9 plays a bit. Oh, that was the fastest, Elise lock-in ever, but they're on champions, interestingly.
Yeah, they have, in a sense, and that can be a detriment to them, but they were trying to, I think, leave up as much as possible and get that Elise pick, and then essentially just, they are giving up a Rumble to Velocity, but as far as North American teams goes, there's 3, maybe 4 of them that play Rumble, and you can't argue who's been the most successful. It has always been Balls, so they're willing to give it up at the chance for Elise, and I think that's actually going to be Balls. Unless it's Meteos that goes crazy with Jungle Elise, that will be a Balls versus Chris matchup with Elise and Rumble.
And that'll be a fun one to watch because they both have such impact on the game. I think Chris is incredibly good mechanically. He's always been a very strong player, has put up good numbers for his team overall, and was actually one of their major forces when these guys beat Coast yesterday. So I think it was actually on Rumble itself, so he's kind of back on this one. Echo, a big favorite of a big fan of Twisted Fate as well, so we'll see if he can pull out the right stuff this time around. Yeah, Cloud9's choice, and they got a couple seconds left to make their decision.
And it's been a very trying season for Velocity. Got to remember, Chris was benched mid-season, recently brought back after Valorous quit the team. Echo was on Marn last split, joined the team halfway through. Always decides to lock over Nivea, never picks it because he's a bit of a jerk.
Yeah.
But those 2 picks locking down early is Velocity saying that they trust these guys, and one of the reasons Echo likes playing on the team is that he gets to pick the champions that he likes to play, which is Twisted Fate.
Yeah, Twisted Fate's a wonderful pick for this guy. Maple Street just repeatedly over and over on the VES. Good laner, good team fight control, and when you consider you've got Twisted Fate and Rumble who like control and like team fighting, it does make sense as a synergy here.
Yeah.
Echo still has to make his decision though. I guess jungle and support left over. They go for Nami, even more team fight.
And teams that have done the best with Rumble are teams that can keep people on top of the equalizer, not just use it as a way to cut off lines in team fights, but actually just kill people straight up with it. Cloud9's not taking any time, though. I feel like they're getting exactly what they want.
They knew exactly what they wanted, absolutely. Yeah. The first 2 Velocity picks were really swift as well, but you're right, the Ashe Jace coming through, we actually saw a fairly similar team from Curse not long ago, picking a lot of these same champions, but it's the Elise that's different here.
So this will be mid lane Jace, and everything else kind of just fills in. Meteos, most played jungler. I feel like Elise or Rumble will be Balls' 2 most played top laners if they weren't banned the majority of the time, and he would just take them at will. Sneaky will play Ashe every game, as we mentioned in the pregame. This is Velocity just playing their best champions against Cloud9's best champions and saying, let's hope we do well.
That's true. You're right. It's fun to see those games, though. It's like the who's who matchup. We got everything we wanted. It is. It's like a blind pick where they just can't quite mirror each other. And even the NK Inc. Lee Sin, another favorite pick here. These guys are going to comfort. Of course, no surprise for Cloud9. Not much of a surprise for Velocity either. But this is a lot of early power for Velocity, which is what they said they wanted.
And I hope we get to see some NK Inc. counter jungling here, or at least some heavy ganks. Because we know what Meteos generally does on Nasus. He'll take his buffs at the start of the game, always try to maneuver to make sure he gets at least 2. He's very good at guessing where the enemy's going to be counter-jungling him. And then he'll run into a lane and support whatever laner he feels like needs the best push or anti-push help. And that's what Cloud9 did against Curse early today. And he completely outpaced St. Vicious at the start of the game with that strategy.
Yeah.
Lee Sin has the most versatility, I'd have to say it, of any jungler, being like the freedom to do things. And I hope NK Inc. makes some very aggressive, bold moves, because that's what Velocity needs to do to take out Cloud9.
Well, and he's the player with the game knowledge. He's the guy with a lot of the shot calling role is on him. That wasn't well formulated, but he's the guy who's going to make a lot of decisions.
What he does, though.
Yeah, he does. And when you're on a playmaking jungler, when you get to show up for a lane, or if it's a 2-on-1 or a 2-on-2, and say, hey, Ashe, Zyra, they're okay disengage. You've got like a root and a slow, but like, you don't really stop Lee Sin from kicking you. So I feel like he has the option to make things happen. You've got a Twisted Fate to gank for who's got a stun. You've got Rumble who can chase people down. I feel like the makings are here for that early game lead these guys want. They just have to be aware of the fact that, well, Nasus can sneak Dragon whenever he wants to. You need to be aware of that one because Meteos did that one before. And then as long as these guys get some kind of early game lead, this is the velocity comp they're looking for.
Well, we mentioned earlier, 20-2, 2 more wins, and Cloud9 actually has the most wins any team's ever had in the LCS. And we're not even into Super Week yet. They can have 21 wins going into Super Week, whereas Velocity is not mathematically limited yet, but they definitely have a lot of work to do.
And they've got steep competition in front of them. Cloud9, a bit of an intimidating team to fight up against. We are here into the game, guys. Cloud9 in blue, spawning in the bottom left. Velocity eSports in the top right in red, fighting for their playoff lives here. Evaniscus gets a ward over the wall. That's answered by Cloud9. VES grouping up, ready to make early moves. They know that brush is warded, so they sneak around to the bottom right side.
So Cloud9 definitely knows that there is a lot of counter-jungling threat early game from Velocity, which is why they're just moving together. And there is very low actual risk for these guys at the moment since they picked completely opposite sides of the map to go onto.
I like the move that Velocity made too. Like they're still mechanically doing everything right. You saw the blind bubble into the gold card and the lock-in and like the attempt there. Of course, no one was there to be fair, but Velocity know how to make these invades happen. And you look at the pings, the little blue pings from Cloud9. They're like, guys, they're probably around here. These are the brushes we need to check. They know by process of elimination where Velocity are waiting around.
Yeah, they could very well be on a crash course for each other. The bubble is so important for what lands, and that's actually why Cloud9 is staying so far back, so if a bubble does land, they wouldn't get immediately collapsed on. Having the Zyra is a threat in itself, though, for Cloud9. They could trade skill shots with each other, and it does look like they're just disengaging and continuing to guess where each other go.
Good guess, actually, by Velocity. They actually warded the brush that Elimination didn't pink ward, so the little sight ward there that Evaniscus did put down doesn't get spotted out. Just a nice little move. They can actually watch just where the junglers go. Blue buff started up by NK Inc. He should get that one pretty safely. Of course, Meteos taking his own blue, or sorry, his own red. That's probably going to be fairly easy as well.
At least what Meteos is doing here, and I mentioned how Meteos usually finds ways to avoid counter jungling. He's taking the buff that would naturally be the one NK Inc. steals next. Since they knew generally where Velocity was, he knew NK Inc. was going to be starting on his own blue buff. So in order for NK Inc. to actually counter jungle Meteos, he'd have to run diagonally across the map and make it all the way to the blue, which Meteos is taking now, which is pretty much impossible.
So well done there. Meteos making the right calls, surviving the early levels of Lee Sin. The bottom lane, we did just see a good bubble from Evaniscus and follow up by Maple Street, sneaky down to half HP. There is a health lead for Velocity, and both teams are actually pushing the lanes as hard as possible to try to get the levels. There's level 2 for Velocity. They move back forward. Can't quite find the slow, but now they're zoning out Cloud9's duo lane.
And this is going to be very interesting for Cloud9, Sneaky, and Elimination because they actually have traditionally a lot of lane domination with Ashe and Zyra. They can stay shoved up almost the entire time, but in a 2v2 lane against Varus and Nami, who are two of the strongest laners in their own right, it's potentially a lot of kill threats since both combos can chain a lot of utility on each other, shut them down, and get kills.
And speaking of utility, I mean, we've actually got the early gank coming in here against a Balls who didn't put a ward down, or at least doesn't spot Lee Sin coming in anyway. Can the gank come in? NK Inc. looking to put pressure, waiting for a last hit to come in from Balls so he can go for the engage. Look how safe he's, Balls said he got better top laning by not dying anymore, and he's just last hitting with
only
W's.
as easy as that. This is a time where Balls just got level 3 and he actually didn't have his repel before that point, but because NK Inc. didn't go right away, the gank would become almost impossible for him to pull off his Lee Sin.
So well done by Balls to realize how the lane was going to go. Really, really good stuff by that man. Maple Street and Evaniscus also, that lane is about to push down towards this Cloud9 turret, but the gank now looking for high does not land the Q. Echo not able to gold card either.
And this is that early game we were talking about as a bubble lands on Sneaky but can't be capitalized on, where NK Inc. is trying to move around and make plays happen, and Meteos is just farming. So every time NK Inc. tries and fails, Meteos is winning.
Yeah, you can see 21-11. It's a very big minion kill lead right here. I guess monster kill lead technically. Meteos farming up his Q decently, gets the one on the Blue Wraith. And you're right, he is scaling up. Evanix is still looking for damage on Sneaky, who is just barely surviving this lane as he loses health without sustain. Look at the poke, though, from Lemon Nation. The plants constantly coming out, dealing some decent damage.
I want to see this lane as they get closer to level 6 as well, because VES and Ashalt's, even though the Ashalt is going all the way through, are very similar when interacting with each other, and both can be used as an attempted kill combo. They're poking each other down very low right here, and even that just aggressive posturing by Lemon Nation is creating a fight.
And his flash force now by Maple Street has to cleanse away the Ignite. Summoner heal by Evaniscus keeps him alive. Lemon Nation burned his flash for that one. Sneaky has just his flash, so does Evaniscus. In the top lane, another fight coming in for NK. Gets the slow onto Balls, chasing down, has to flash away. NK, nice dodge there by Balls, not getting queued.
Really calm escape there at the end of the gank by Balls. He'd already used his repel, so he knew after the flash that he had to juke that Q, and that's just why he's so good at the top lane. Knows exactly how to avoid death.
Doesn't die. Good job, Balls. So
you know who also doesn't die is Meteos.
That's true.
He didn't die last game. He didn't die yesterday. And I think he died once all of last week.
Jeez.
So that's
good.
That's rather KDA-ish.
Yes.
I think it's going to be going pretty high right now.
He's got first place. Jinte's still in second. But very good job by Meteos to keep himself top of the KDA standings and make all the right decisions for his team. Now, High had been pushing the mid lane up against Echo for a while in this matchup. It's equalizing out a little bit more thanks to the wild cards, but you still see that 9 minion kill lead. High with a small lead there, and the team with 200 gold just from the minions as well. So even though the bottom lane got frozen a bit, there's leads elsewhere.
And Jace beats Twisted Fate in lane if you're talking about equal footing matchup, no other outside variables, just because of the damage potential that Jace has. And I also feel like until Echo starts using his ultimate, High's going to continue to have an edge in any straight-up fights, just because of the way Jace's kit is loaded with skirmish abilities.
He's going to keep trying to do that then. NK Inc. just clearing out his own jungle. Doesn't necessarily clear quite as fast as Nasus. Elimination taking a bit of damage, but nothing really found just yet. NK Inc. unfortunately has not found the early ganks he was looking for. Interestingly enough, though, is maxing Tempest, the ground slam, for the slow afterwards. So a bit more jungle clear speed and a bit more slow potential.
Yeah, I've seen Voyboy max his Eon Lee Sin a lot when he plays him top lane as well. It surprises people with your damage because so many people expect physical damage coming from Lee Sin, and when you max your Tempest, you're just spiking them with a bunch of magic damage as well as increasing your slow, which lets your skill shots land more easily as well. So it's actually a very viable strategy on Lee Sin.
We'll see if it can pay off for him with wave clear, with whatever he ends up needing here. Chris and Balls still holding up this top lane. An 11 minion kill lead, though, for the Spider. A good thing for Balls. The blue buff getting started out. These are going to start getting traded now. Of course, Cloud9 spawns later. Theoretically, Velocity could go for a blue buff steal in the next 30 seconds when that respawns. Don't know if it's that likely, but is on the table.
So even so, we've talked about how Velocity's first 10 minutes of the game are solid, and they don't lose games in the first 10 minutes. They're playing Cloud9 very close to even right now. It's 100 gold. In fact, no gold at all is the difference if we're only going off the top. It's bouncing back and forth between tied and not tied. They generally know where they're going right now. It's just going to be about how they transition.
And of course, with the Twisted Fate ultimate available, Chris getting jumped on by Balls. A lot of damage coming across. Forced to use the equalizer and burn back in. There comes the repel.
He's going to get a kill.
It's going to be a jump on. Oh, the damage not coming across. Ignite by Echo. Chris, be careful. First blood picked up. Nice job, Velocity.
He didn't follow his advice. He died in top lane. That's the struggle he's in.
And the
fight
elimination, the cleanse is used. Maple Street almost surviving. Evidence is slowed down.
Oh no!
He barely gets the kill. The Zyra ult, though, gonna let Sneaky pick up a double kill. So that's 2 for 2 overall on the map.
I feel like that flash forward was not worth it at the end of that fight, even though he got elimination. Trading a support kill for an AD carry kill is never worth it.
No.
If he could have avoided that, I feel like if he flashed back, it would have been mostly fine, and Velocity, even though they would have been even in kills, would have better overall kill gold distribution.
And the red buff does go over to NK Inc. A nice attempted steal by High. Echo just picking up the double Doran's ring with the flask and trying to continue on in his lane. Did get a little bit more of a minion deficit because he left his lane, but still within 12, not too bad overall. Meteos, though, lurking now against NK Inc. He's got the ward on him, knows where NK is. His smite's up. Really get a steal? No, actually lets him go by.
Wonder what Meteos is going to do next, because he's very decisive and he generally doesn't waste time. Normally when he's level 6 plus on Nasus, he's going for dragon control, but since he's up near the top of the map, he either needs to do something right away or get down to that dragon to start controlling it.
And here we go. Pink ward, though, control. Oh, the ward not quite lands.
That's a hard ward.
It is difficult. So it doesn't quite reveal the other side of the brush, but if they come around the lizard side, at least you'll see him come over. Maple Street holding on to the minion wave, has actually pushed that down towards Sneaky, but no one has left that top lane. You're right, no one's come down to make that a high priority, so no one's actually pushing for that one. I think as Velocity is the team with Rumble, they're the team I feel like that would really like dragon fights.
I think you're right, but it's just, I think, a little bit of PTSD for Velocity here, knowing what happened last game when they did a dragon fight mid-game against Cloud9. They just don't want to engage in that game right now.
Another stun lands on a high, though. Actually good damage off this mid lane. Echo dropped a bit low. Meteos will find some damage, but it might not be enough. There's a slow cut for NK Inc. The gold card, elimination pushing forward, flash out, and NK Inc. will follow through. Rumble ulti used. There is the jump in from Balls. Can Chris win this battle? He lights him on fire. The spider taking a bit of pain, but now out of range. I don't know if Chris can quite follow this one up. Looks like not. Ball's making his way out. Yeah. Okay, so the ult used, but there comes TF. What
is he going to go?
Recalls.
Well, he just wanted to see him.
It's like the teleport.
Yeah, I think we knew this was going to be a brawl in the top lane from the very start of the game. We mentioned how Chris is a tremendously skilled top laner, and Balls loves Rumble.
And then we got the slow on the Maple Street. So slow!
Oh, man!
Forced to flash, the jump in, Sneaky finds him. Barrier, here's the tidal wave. That's not even going to hit him. Good kill pickup, but NK Inc. now flanking on the Balls. Is going to be close. Here comes the damage up, and Q lands, picks up. Kill picked up by Chris, and NK Inc. gets out. Nice job.
Style points coming in from behind with the gank there for NK Inc. But here's that dragon control we talked about for Cloud9. Since there was a two-man gank top, Meteos always with the split-second decision to go in the right place.
And look at Lemonation running to the top lane as well to help wave through that and prevent the turret from going down. So nice pickup, Cloud9 in the face of a pink ward, takes down Dragon, gets themselves their, I mean, it gets them a gold, at least 700 gold, the biggest one they've had all game, I think. It's a nice job by them, not even using the Nasus ult for it.
And as this game moves on, I want to see how Cloud9 approaches their team fights, because when they have Ashe and Zyra, they're always loaded with utility and just ability to keep people in fights. It's going to allow Meteos time to actually run in, and he's their only full frontliner, because Balls actually builds a very assassin-y Elise that doesn't have much defense, because Meteos can provide himself and be that huge tank for his own team. So it's actually, think of like 3 really high long-range damage dealers, and then Meteos, who's running in at the front, where Balls will be supporting damage but not looking to take damage. So that'll be a very interesting teamfight dynamic for Cloud9 when they get to the teamfight phase.
And speaking of Meteos being that big tank, compare his minion farm to NK Inc. 77 to 50. Even though he hasn't been part of any kills, he's got 3,300 gold. Actually second place on his team. Has more gold than Balls. Hyde getting the catch though, and Echo by himself in the mid lane. Burned Ignite Flash, but good kill.
That was a little surprising. I'd like to see that one again, actually, because that seemed like it had to have been a good play by Hyde to take down Echo. And we were talking about Jace wins the matchup against Twisted Fate whenever Twisted Fate's not using his ultimate somewhere. Jace is just built to have straight-up fights, whereas TF is built to teleport to places and augment.
And Chris trying to fight Balls again, but Balls kiting away from the burn damage here as soon as the silence ends. Chris waiting. Actually, oh no! Look at that harpoon! The second he landed, he got it. Chris has to survive this, though. Ignite is on. It's close, but he had more than 100 health. He's going to be all right. This is really impressive. Chris is 3-0, but Cloud9 are winning elsewhere. This bottom turret's going down.
And remember, Balls picked Elise when Rumble was on the board.
True.
So they opted into that matchup specifically. Chris, along with the help of NK Inc. and actually Echo's fear of TF ganks, has been able to grow that advantage. And we've seen Balls lose lane fairly badly once before to Voyboy, where he actually went 0-5 in the lane and then was able to come back in teamfights. We might see a similar thing here from Balls, where if he starts falling behind in lanes, since it happens so infrequently to him, he doesn't necessarily know how to stop the bleeding.
And I kind of want to recap what Velocity has done to build that lead. The first gank was Twisted Fate. Echo showed up, got him a kill. Second gank, NK Inc. showed up, got Chris a kill. Now Chris is able to solo his lane. They've spent all of their map pressure, their jungle pressure, their global pressure on the top lane, and now look elsewhere.
Exactly, and that's why they're pushing mid lane right now with Chris, because they have effectively controlled Balls, and they're trying to allow Chris to now pay them back. They invest everything else, and now they're trying to take the money out of the bank.
See if they can do it, because Balls is pushed towards his top side turret. Chris forced to run up as a defensive measure. And Cloud9 have actually ended their bottom laning phase as well. They took the turret down and said, all right, Sneaky and Lemon, show up elsewhere. Balls, though, getting massively caught out. Chris, can he find it again? No ulti available, and this is likely to be nice! I love how good Chris is at timing that. As an Elise player himself, it's the second time he's mid-air Electro Harpoon the Elise.
There's just no room for escape there.
So good, though.
There's no safety in your repel if you're not in the right spot. And that's, I mean, he went 0-5 last time. He's on pace for it now.
But the stun lands on a Chris, who has his ulti but is silenced right now, has to flash backwards. Can he get it off in time? Puts it down, but he's going to lose a lot of health. NK8 goes down. Chris just barely alive. Summoner heal by Evanescence. The double bubble. The Navi knockup. They get one. Can they chase Meteos? Echo stuns him. Wildcard. Not enough damage, though. Meteos gets out.
So actually a 1-for-1 there, but saving Chris was the most key thing there. You could actually see the AD carry and support duo lanes trading utility with each other as one set locked down for a kill, and then Maple Street and Evaniscus locked down with Alt Bubble for the next. That was cool to see.
Very interesting stuff right here. So Velocity, though, they said they wanted an early game lead. They're down 100 gold right now, but have a kill lead for themselves. They've got a 4-0-1 Chris, who is level 11. His team fight power should be so strong. I want to see what they do with this.
Look at all the magic pennies building up right now. I wonder if he's even going to go and turn that Negatron Cloak into an Abyssal Scepter just to go even farther. Specifically because even though Meteos farms a lot and will generally build that Runic Bulwark, he hasn't been able to get started on it yet. And the next team fight, generally where Velocity kind of struggles against Cloud9, is where they have a chance to actually take a huge edge.
Chris is still trying to bully away Balls in this top lane. It's just kind of funny to watch. Chris is kind of dunking that one. But you're right, the lead here so far for C9. Velocity looking for their next opening. You see the build start to mature a little bit more. Echo, of course, a lot of early armor, went for the fast Seekers, realized High was having a good time against him in lane. Maybe Azonius would be coming in handy with this one. The mid lane, though, under a lot of pressure and getting rooted. He can't jump in on that. Does have the sight stun, too. He could jump, kick him back.
And Chris is in a weird spot in between the river and top lane right now where he's thinking about coming down for Cloud9. Because this is a point in the game where Cloud9 is trying to take their edge, but Chris needs to let his advantages be known.
And Balls is jumping in onto Chris. This is a pretty interesting fight right here.
Really?
Chris low on HP, goes on fire, tries to drop down Balls. Does he have enough damage? He does! Oh, with 400 health left.
That was awesome moves by Chris, but Cloud9 gets the mid-turn.
They land the slow onto 3 members of Cloud9. Will they come back in? There's the Q from NK Inc. Does not leave Syndrome that wouldn't follow up just because he landed it. He's all right.
All right, I want to talk real quick about how awesome what Chris did to Balls was up there. He had his Flame Spitter going when Balls came down, so he killed all of his spiders with it, which then made it so Balls could A, not heal up with his spiderlings, and B, do reduced damage to Chris for the last bit of the fight. That's how he killed him for a 5th time.
Really nice job then taking those ones out. Couple of wards here, getting swept, and Velocity feeling like they have the power. Chris coming down without ulti, it's gonna be potentially a smite battle.
And there is a Zyra ultimate up here, but look at how much damage Chris is doing.
Dropped down to 100 HP, and Echo wants to go for it, but the Lee Sin was killed off. They've traded kills so far, and Dragon is alive, so High making NK Inc. fall over, and this lets Velocity not take Dragon.
And this is actually going to be turning into a battle between Sneaky's Ashe and Chris's Rumble, because they're the ones who are getting all the kills for each other's team. The gold is still trending in the favor of Cloud9, but Velocity is putting up one hell of a fight.
And the VES Chris ulti is almost back available to force a battle if they wanted it. Balls 0-5, you got the score right. He has kept up in minions doing this, though, 110 to 110. But as we said, Chris, very, very scary. Piercing arrow onto some spiders, not a big deal. Okay.
A little bit of spiders. Those spiders aren't living very long for Balls this game. This has not been a very good game for him. I think it's safe to say 0-5-0. He has been, at the start of the game, heavily ganked. And then after that, Chris has just put a focus on keeping him down. I wonder if that's going to pay off. You can see second lowest gold on the team for Balls just because of how much he's dying. And not necessarily keeping his regular CS pace. He's keeping pace with Chris, but not even close to the rest of the map.
But look at Cloud9, though. They still feel as the confident team. They jump in, NK Inc. dodging away from some of the damage right there. Does get away from High, but the ward coverage, the plants coming out. Cloud9 think that Dragon is there right now. There's groups around it saying, yes, we're going to take this for more global gold.
And all ultimates, except for Zyra's Stranglethorns, are up for Cloud9. they may look to catch with that Ash Arrow, especially if they can land it on Chris, since he's so confident right now on Rumble that he's frontlining. The only danger Cloud9 has to worry about here is following in too deep through an Ash Arrow. Because we've seen many times in the past, if an Ash Arrow hits on a Rumble, as long as the Rumble still gets his ultimate down, it could be disastrous. And with Velocity having all the counter-engage with the Varus ultimate and the Nami tidal wave, it is a dangerous proposition for Cloud9 to be diving in.
So they've got to be worried about this one. The VES team comp, definitely a good one for team fights. NK takes down. I like that the plant's with 7 gold because of the Twisted Fate passive. We are still on 3.9, which is why Runic Bulwark still exists and why the TF passive is still global, by the way.
Always good to note.
Yeah, just making sure. Someone actually asked me that one earlier, so I want to make sure you guys were aware of this one. Velocity, though, are still grouping up. They think Baron or Dragon is something they really can do.
Ooh, man.
Snipe comes off, damage to Sneaky.
This fight is going to have huge impact. You can actually see Balls trying to flank around the side, and Cloud9 is the team with confidence here.
Ash Arrow does land onto Echo, but he's very safe. Rumble ulti comes across. Will they have the damage? Meteos taking it up. NK Inc. falling down very quickly, but does jump backwards. Chris getting jumped on by Balls. Meteos gets a kill. Double kill picked up now as Balls goes in. This is bad right now for Velocity. Kills are coming across. Only one answered back. Echo trying to jump out. Gets rooted. He goes down. Amazing team fight. Cloud9 going 4-1.
That's the Cloud9 game. They have team fight execution through and through. With the 4 kills, they balloon their gold lead and take a stranglehold on this game.
Wonderfully done. 32,000 to 26,000. Second Dragon as well. Really, really well played, Cloud9. And Balls went from 0-5-0 to 2-5-1.
Just look at the gold totals after that one. 8,000 gold now on Sneaky. The Ash Arrow actually wasn't even needed in that one. And I have to say the Rumble ult in that fight didn't land. It cut off Cloud9 for the most part, but they were able to avoid it. And that's the biggest reason that Velocity failed in that fight, is because all of their farm and gold and hopes were on Chris, but then they couldn't keep people inside the Rumble ult, so his damage was negated.
Wow, so we're in a full job then by Cloud9 to dodge it out. They did a good job of surviving everything and being okay. NK8 grabbing the red buff. All right, he's in good shape. Of course, that Tempest maxed out. Echo grabbing his own buffs. Cloud9 team fight execution, good stuff for them. Echo has got to look to make some new moves in this one, because here it is. It's 20 minutes. It's the 6,000 gold deficit. Velocity's early game lead has started to disappear for them. And Cloud9, this is where they really excel, is this is part of the game.
And something that always happens when I'm watching Cloud9 games is I'll see around 15 minutes and they'll be like 2,000 gold up. And I'll say, all right, it's another Cloud9 game. Maybe this team is going to give them a run for their money. And then I'll look up from like a note I'm taking, and they'll be 10,000 gold ahead.
And Chris getting hit by an arrow. Can they collapse on him? Slowed down. The counter engage comes across by Evaniscus, but isn't enough. Bubble lands onto 2. Chris does go down. Great kill picked up there for High. And now it's time for the split push. NK Inc. takes down the mid lane turret. Echo pushing in the bottom. Will Cloud9 keep sieging, or will they turn on back? Because it's a 2 turrets for 1 champion kill right here. That's not bad.
Not the trade Cloud9 would really want to opt into. I almost feel like they're overcompensating for Chris's dominance this game, sending so much in the top lane just to kill him, and actually forgetting for a second about what Cloud9's primary objective always is in the game, objectives.
And so they didn't get the secondary turret out of that one. Good defense by the rest of VES to stop the 4v2 essentially from doing anything in this one. Lemon already has the oracles. They are at least somewhat objective-minded. Still, he's getting rid of the wards. He's getting map vision. He's trying to make sure they can keep taking what they need, whether it's Dragon, whether it's the Baron, whether it's just turrets and getting catches with Ash Arrows.
Yeah, they're in control right now, and I think they really asserted their dominance in that Dragon fight, which should carry them over to the rest of the game here. At this point, the risk is going to be for Cloud9 just sticking together, and I think letting Balls do his thing. Balls, like he did in that last game, or like in the one game we saw him struggle, which was like 4 months ago.
Sure.
I just got to remind people, because it has happened once before. He went 0-5-0 in lane, but then performed in team fights and still had a normal game, because he was able to keep his minion farm up while he was dying a bunch, and then could still make an impact in team fights. And we're actually seeing a very similar pattern for Balls this game, where he kept up in minion farm with Chris, and because the team just automatically switches off to having other carries, it's okay for Cloud9.
Here's the push on it, and kicking high back in. Echo exploding, having to use Zhonya's. High does go down that's first kill, but Meteos trades one back. 1 for 1 so far. There's the tidal wave. Can the rest of Cloud9 fight? Chris's ulti is still up if they want to go in for the battle again. And getting chased around, but will jump over walls. It's a 4 versus 4. Piercing arrow comes by. Cloud9 not able to push on in. But Balls is waiting in the wings, and so is Lemonation.
I wonder if they're going to be able to do anything aggressive here. I think they have to catch a stun so they can chain. And they caught one, but they didn't chain. They're just pushing the turret.
Bit of damage. Damage onto the turret. Maple Street almost hit. Actually forced to cleanse away from the root. It looks like VES are just not engaging on this one. There's the equalizer, but it doesn't hit onto much. Cloud9 gets to walk away from this one.
So Chris was holding his equalizer for most of that fight because he didn't have any other crowd control to chain it with. Maple Street and Evaniscus had both used their utility ultimates already. Echo had died, and he didn't want to use it. And it was almost like once their turrets started getting pushed down, he panicked at the last second and almost just wasted an ultimate, because that didn't stop the Cloud9 push. They still lost the tower, but it cost them the cooldown.
So, still very great then by Cloud9. They're still getting the team fights. It was a close one to the start. They went 1 for 1 on it. They even got initiated on by Lee Sin, but you saw them say 1 for 1 team fight? That's still a turret for us. That's 4-2 in turrets. I believe every dragon as well. This is the standard Cloud9 setup. That the two numbers in the middle are very similar, but the ones outside from it get progressively better for that Cloud9 lineup, and that is the game that they play so successfully the entire split.
And then the only other thing that we need to remember for watching Cloud9 game is the deaths for Meteos always says 0. Because he doesn't die. It's the most absurd thing, considering he's always in the middle of fights. He goes in at the right time, and they win a lot of fights.
Yeah, and actually someone made unfortunately anonymous for me, an infographic the other day about the items that the junglers all build.
Okay.
And Meteos has Ancient Golem, I think, literally 100% of his games.
Yeah.
Runic Bulwark in 90%.
He always builds the Golem Spirit first.
Yes.
And then right after that, we'll upgrade his boots. This game, Ninja Tabi, couple games he goes cooldown boots, and then that Runic Bulwark.
And just always supporting his team out there and being the tanky frontliner man. He is always that role. Cloud9 relies on him. He never dies.
Yeah, as Cloud9 tries to push up the turrets and kind of strangle Velocity out here, I'm curious to see what Meteos does in the next patch with 3.10, because the Runic Bulwark will be removed from the game come Super Week for the LCS. Instead, the Aegis of the Legion will upgrade into a Locket of the Iron Solari. I think Meteos is still going to be the type to build that, but you actually have a lot more freedom on a jungler where if you want to just build more straight-up tank items, he's going to have the freedom to do that. I could actually see Meteos going with Golem Spirit and then like a Randwinds or a Spirit Visage right afterwards and just become even more of an individual force, even if it's not a team aura.
See if he does it then. We've got a week to, I guess a couple weeks to figure it out.
Couple weeks.
Yeah. We'll see it there. Echo getting jumped on by Balls. Has to flash away, but he's still slowed. Slowed again. Balls. Oh, good gold card by Echo. And he's going to ult up as well.
Does he have stun up for when he teleports?
He's got a rumble, though.
He can't get away from that. Oh, he swapped. Okay.
Oh, that was cool. When Balls switched forms, he knew he had no stun, but Chris is now here. Thing is, now the rest of Cloud9 are collapsing. Good read by Chris to leave this one, because he's got a lot of friends, a lot of enemies, a lot of frenemies coming soon.
Yeah, why would Balls switch forms there? It's kind of strange, because he had the stun threat to
get
stop
range
Echo.
closer?
Maybe because I don't think you get a move speed. You get
10 move speed.
You get 10 move speed, but it's not like a Jace move speed boost. Either way, they know they burned the Twisted Fate ultimate. They got Echo low, and they're sieging down this turret. Cloud9 doesn't necessarily need to force a Baron. They're always confident to dive beforehand. Everything's up for them. They might look to go on the next wave.
And let's see how Cloud9 starts the fight out, because I guess
Ash Arrow.
Ash Arrow.
Yeah.
It's good. I was about
Hawk
to be like,
shot first, Ash Arrow second.
Here we go.
Usually.
The wave clear across, and they actually face tank a bit of this turret. And you look at how much health it drops. High gets cut out, though. The engage is on. So much damage. The equalizer finally catches everyone. Elimination has fallen down. Here comes the jump back in. Arrow lands onto Chris. NK Inc. dives forward. Can he get the kick? He finds Sneaky. Sneaky is gone, but they trade NK Inc. for it. Now can they get the chase on Meteos? He does not have flash. He goes on a Maple Street. Maple Street, oh, the shock blast! But it's traded back. Now Balls comes in. Triple kill for Chris. Can he make it more? Quadra kill for Chris,
wow.
I think. But Balls, last man standing. Evaniscus, can you defend?
That was a very crazy fight. Chris, the investment the Velocity put in, gets the equalizer, and that's what ends up turning that fight around. The fact that Velocity initiated on Cloud9 is what made that fight close.
It was a beautiful equalizer, and I'm actually so surprised, though, because Hai survived until the end of that battle. He survived until the very end. He got hit by the Varus ultimate, got hit by the equalizer, flashed out. It was his combo that killed Maple Street, and he was the last one to get killed. So I gotta give some props to Hai as well, but that's the exact kind of team fight Velocity wants.
That is exactly what they need to do to try to keep themselves in this game. They're down 5 turrets to 2. They're keeping the kills even, but in typical Cloud9 game style, it's that 8,000 to 9,000 gold lead. I'd say that's it was a bit of a misstep for Cloud9 because Velocity was aggressive when Cloud9 is used to teams just kind of letting themselves get initiated on. So I really have to give props to them being able to get that team fight the way they did.
So congrats right there. And of course now Lichbane coming in for Echo, so some more damage coming across, seeing who can do stuff aside from Chris. Do they have the damage output? Maple Street here on a Bloodthirster Last Whisper. Interestingly, went Tear of the Goddess. I know in Europe people tend to make fun of Genja for building that because it's a little bit hard for Varus to charge that.
Yeah, he built it pretty late too, because he's only got 320 of his 750 stacks on it right now.
That's just Varus.
It's like blue Varus.
Yeah.
And he wanted mana.
Get the wave clear. It's
I'm
weird.
a little skeptical.
I am too.
I can see it because he's a bit of an AD caster, but unless you're going in from the start or unless you're... They need him for damage at this point in the game.
Yeah.
I think that's going to hurt them in extended team fights.
Let's see if he can keep up, though. The piercing arrow does come across. At least he wave clear as well. Cloud9, they'll have no shortage of that themselves with Zyra Nasus. Their whole team. I don't even know why I'm naming individuals there. The whole team wave clear as well from Cloud9. Velocity right now trying to hold on. Looking for the next good team fight for that amazing Chris Rumble ultimate. Cloud9, though, they're going to do their initial bookkeeping here. They're just grabbing the blue buffs up, making sure the waves are pushed out. Even Lemonation is down to the bottom lane pushing by himself. 38 minion kills on him. Double gold per 10. About to even go, is that Cage's?
It's a mana manipulator right now. I like that item. I actually...
Shard of True Ice.
Yeah, he might be going for a Shard of True Ice right there to just help Meteo stick to his targets. Big fight breaking out.
And it just explodes right there, but they do get a pretty good equalizer now. Where's the follow-up? The knockup's going to land onto just one, but Chris is caught up. He's going to fall down. 2-0 now for Cloud9. Acceleration Gate comes in, and the team looks to charge. Nope, they're going to move to the side, maybe Baron.
And unfortunately, Maple Street was never even in range to use his Varus ultimate that fight. He's just walking out of the base at this point, trying to get back into that. That was a very good turnaround by Cloud9. Meteos getting into the middle of the fight, not deterred by the fact that he actually died in the last one, willing to just go in again.
And the Baron does go down. All the members of the team are wearing it. Lemonation with the last hitting skills. Taking down Baron himself. 25 bonus gold for the trouble. That is a huge pickup now. A good team fight. And again, it's standard Velocity. Sorry, standard Cloud9. They got a team fight. They got a big objective for it.
I think they're going to be looking to end the game here pretty soon as well.
Yeah.
You can see Sneaky is really starting to get his items kicking, and he hasn't had to buy many defensive items aside from that one fight where NK Inc. was able to work his way through the mounds of utility that Cloud9 puts in front of Sneaky. He's generally safe to just sit back and do what he wants. Since he's initiating with his arrow, Cloud9 is controlling the fights that they get, and they seem very poised to be able to go in. Balls has finished off that very aggressive Elise build. That is not your tank Elise. That is full
that is damage.
Maximum magic pen Elise. Really abusing her high base damages as well as giving him a nice little chunk of AP right now with 316. But mainly that build is about magic penetration.
See who we can kill with this one. Actually, by the way, hasn't died since the laning phase. 0-5-0 to 4-5 and 6. Well played in these fights here.
He knows how to get himself back in game.
He seriously does. Of course, Chris, though, you got to mention him still 9-4-4 off of that 5-0 start. We'll see what the big key players can go. 5-5-5 to 4-4-4, the gold right there. And now at 33-11, it's going to be the Dragon going down once more. Falls on the bottom side, getting his farm going. 205 on him. Really good score by that Elise. And as you mentioned, Cloud9 might be looking to close it out. They're starting to make their way on the right-hand side of the map.
And this turret that Velocity is positioned around right now is one of the most difficult to defend turrets. If they stick around close to this turret, I'd expect Cloud9 to just arrow and go. I don't think Velocity can realistically hold at this turret unless they pull off something really impressive with their crowd control chain.
See if they can do it then. Got the AoE.
Yeah, you just got to back off. Essentially, they're standing there to look nice. I don't know why teams bother with that.
You always get that like random Ash arrow catch and you're like, oh, that was silly.
Yeah.
Well, Cloud9 now at the front door. This is something that VES does have to defend right here. Chris occasionally going into overheat, lurking around. Average Cloud9 game, 34.5 minutes. Yeah, I believe that one.
All right, they got 30 more seconds to kill the Nexus if they want to beat their average time. I don't think they're going to do it.
Not necessarily, unless they get a Miracle Ash Arrow and the fight just starts right there. The VES have a good team comp, and more poke lands, and it's the poke on his support. They're actually aiming at Evaniscus and knocking him low, getting rid of him on that fight, forcing him to heal because it only takes a couple shock blasts to knock a support down.
And it's a big amount of disengage for Velocity. Nami is their anti-dive, so when Nami goes back, they can dive.
And here they go in. The Ash Arrow lands on a Chris. He's going to die before he gets to ult. He's actually still alive. Finally goes down with the silence. 2 kills picked up. Now Maple Street's on. Balls does finally die, but Meteos in the back line. The Flash Q, he picks up the kill. Echo, the only one left here. He's not going to get too much for it. It's actually back in base. 4 versus 1. Cloud9 looking to close the game out. First turret goes down, second turret going down as well. Cloud9 gonna go 3-0 on the week, gonna secure first place in the North American LCS Summer Split with 5 games to go.
We haven't even made it into Super Week, and these guys have 21 wins. That's as many wins as the first place team had last split, which was TSM. Cloud9 is on another level right now as far as North American teams go.
They're definitely hovering way above everyone else. The rest of the teams are on Earth. They're in the clouds.
They're in the clouds. They're on another level. Oof. I didn't even mean to do that.
Jat, you're good at this though. Teams must hate you. I screwed that
There's
one
no
up.
even the Game Freak.
All right,
he went
all right.
too far.
Ah, damn. That's always my problem. But guys, so Cloud9, very, very well done. Velocity, you know,
it was tough.
It's a rough game for them. They had a good plan. They said, we're going to snowball ahead Chris. He's going to win our team fights for us. The guy had a really, really good score. Had 10 kills that game, more than anyone else. The highest number of kills was on Chris. He got snowballed early, beat up Balls for most of that, but unfortunately they couldn't quite find the fights they wanted.
Yeah, it's been that kind of year for Velocity. They have had a couple comeback wins, but they've never found the right formula of things to put together just to make this work.
And so you got to think about this, right? Because their early games have always been good, and I feel like their build-ups have been strong. You look back even at the beginning when they ran with the Jungle Ezreal comp. I always like referencing it because I think it's such a smart thing from them. It's like, here's this thing, we're going to throw everyone for a loop. We're going to get a bunch of turret kills early on. You're not quite going to know how to react to it. And they did this against Dignitas and then had like 2 bad team fights at 25 minutes and lost it out. You look at this game here.
Happen again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
25 minutes. Oh, almost. It's heartbreaking.
How do you fix that, right? Like
I don't know.
They'll need to figure it out. I feel like Velocity is almost sealed up into relegation at this point. So if I was them, if I were them, I would be working towards kind of what got them here. Because if we think all the way back to Velocity in the promotion tournament against Marn, I feel like their best strategy was that Jungle Ezreal with the solo Janna running 2 supports and doing the poke push composition. That was supposed to be their thing coming into the season here, that they would be the team with the wacky strategies that catches people off guard, because playing conventionally hasn't worked out for them. For whatever reason. They can play conventional for the first 10 or 15 minutes, but as far as the overall strategy of the game goes, that's where it starts falling back. And I think they need to use the Super Week and the time before the relegation, which I'm not sure exactly what happens in the future, to prepare for that moment.
I think it's late in the year.
Yeah, it's late in the year to just perfect those strategies that teams won't be ready for, because I think that's their sweet spot.
I think it's really smart too, because you think about the fact that they are new, right? Certainly you can understand some of the late game team fight problems, because while you've seen names like NK Inc. around, a lot of these guys are no strangers to competitive. Vile Rose was a new name coming in. Where did this guy come from? Well, Solo Q. He was really vocal and is a strong player, and the team voted him in as he'll be our shot caller. But to be fair, he's new to the competitive scene. And when you consider the teams who make the good calls, how long has Bloodwater been playing? Years as a shot caller.
Yes.
On CLG Black, on Vulcan, was on Coast. You're kind of up against guys who have been through so many more of these situations. It's no surprise that Velocity has trouble, but you're right, they can hedge those bets with crazy early games that just take away all options.
Because you always have to remember as well that even though Cloud9 and Velocity came into the LCS at the same time, Cloud9 had at least been working on and iterating on a communication structure long before then. So Cloud9's a new team to the LCS, but they communicate so well because that's what they've been working on. And I don't think Velocity they clearly haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, but I think there's a bright future for these guys. They clearly have the skill, just need some time to get their teamwork together. So guys, we have to take a short break, but when you return, Cloud9 Sneaky will join us to talk about taking first place in the North American LCS. Then, Counterlogic Gaming and Team Solo Mid will throw down in our 5th